Welcome to the Epcotian Adventure,
a podcast where we talk about all things Disney, but we're Epcot-centered.
including tips and tricks, festivals and favorites, and the very latest in our rankings and reviews.
But we're still old enough to remember when this episode would have only been Disneyland and Magic Kingdom.
This is episode 85, the best and worst Disney attractions in the USA.
Or, let's see if our best is your best. Or if our worst is your worst, or if your worst is our better than your worst.
That's enough. Okay. So now, please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast as we embark on our Epcotian adventure. Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 85 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And, wow, 85.
I know.
That's a lot.
We're like creeping up on 100 here.
That's cray-cray.
Well, that'll be... Do people still say that?
I don't know. I'm old.
That's true.
I'm just assuming all the kids say that kind of thing. It's the bee's knees. You know, it's all read.
That's the
23
hips.
skidoo. Well, folks, we're going to talk about the best and worst Disney attractions at Disney theme parks in the Disney USA.
That's a lot of Disney.
That's a lot of Disney, yes. But we're going to talk about Magic Kingdom. We're going to talk about Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, Disneyland Park, and Disney's Animal... No, we said Animal Kingdom, but I like Animal Kingdom. That's why I said it. And Disney California Adventure.
There you go.
There we go.
You found it.
So all of the domestic U.S. theme parks, basically. Of course, there is still Paris and Tokyo and Hong Kong and Shanghai, but...
We're not addressing those today.
We're not going to talk about them yet. We haven't been to all those yet, but we will be going to Paris shortly. Yay!
So what is the purpose of this episode? So we're talking about the best and the worst of the attractions. Of course, this is just our opinion. We'll talk about sort of how we got to these conclusions. But it's sort of like, here's the one thing that you have to do at this park. And here's a little something you could skip if you're in a time crunch.
We'll talk about why that is, because this is very subjective.
Extremely.
If you're a teenager, you're not going to agree with us. If you're a 5-year-old child, you're really not going to agree with us. But if you're a Disney adult or traveling with other adults, this is a good, thing to look at for what we suggest as the best attractions, I think is the best way to put it.
Absolutely. And we did try to be a little more subjective than just our personal opinions. So, there is that. But... just keep in mind that every single thing in a Disney park is somebody's favorite. Now, I don't always understand that.
How is Mission Space somebody's favorite?
It's somebody's favorite.
It's horrible. All right. Spoilers.
Somebody loves Puffy Pizza from Rizzo's.
Nobody loves Puffy Pizza from Rizzo's.
But it's still there. See,
the
this
rats
is what
don't
I mean.
even eat it.
But everything is somebody's favorite. So we're going to tell you what we think is the best and the worst at each of the Disney parks in the U.S.
And why.
Well,
let's start with the OG Disneyland Park in California.
California.
That's the place you ought to be.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
You should write that down.
You should put it in a song or something. Well, Disneyland, of course, is the original Disney park. It opened back in 1955 and has the most attractions of any Disney theme park on the planet. And it's also not the biggest, but they just cram them in there. It's weird, but...
It's little. It has a little castle. It has a little footprint. It's just a little park, and it's lovely.
It's like
I love
a little
Disneyland.
Casalita. It's so cute. Yeah. But Disneyland has the original Pirates, the original Haunted Mansion, the original Thunder Mountain.
The original pretty much everything except Space Mountain.
But what would be the best at Disneyland? Well, this is a hard one because they also have Galaxy's Edge, like Hollywood Studios does.
Well, that's DCA. We're talking Disneyland Park right now.
No, Disneyland Park is where Galaxy's Edge is.
Dang it.
Yeah. You're thinking Studios.
I am.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, Galaxy's Edge West was put into Disneyland long after we moved out here. So... when we moved away from that park, and I knew that it was there, but we hadn't actually been there yet, in my head, it does not fit at Disneyland. When I worked at Brer Bar in Critter Country and repeatedly had to tell people, no, you can't go through. You have to go back out to the river and circle all the way back around. That's not true anymore. You can get out of Critter Country.
It's weird not being
It's
a dead
crazy,
end.
but in my head, Galaxy's Edge belongs at DCA. Okay.
So at Disneyland...
Wow, Rabbit Trail. Sorry about that.
Speak! Hi there. Squirrel!
we go down a lot of rabbit holes, So, with Disneyland having a lot of original attractions, this really was a hard one.
It was.
We talked about something as simple as the Matterhorn, because it's unique to Disneyland.
Or
Is
Alice in
that the
Wonderland.
best? Yes.
Again, unique to Disneyland.
Or Rise of the Resistance, because it's just a banger of an attraction.
Right. But not unique to Disneyland.
Very true, very true. And that's really why we settled on the best Disney attraction at Disneyland Park being the original Pirates of the Caribbean.
Absolutely.
Here's why. No height requirement. It is a minor thrill ride since it has 2 drops. Yes, it has 2. I know Magic Kingdom people, you're going, no, 1. Disneyland has 2 drops.
As it should
One
be.
right after the other. Little bitty still. But it's really good for kids. It's really good for families. It is based... Well, the movie is based on the attraction, which is now based on the movie. Really hard to kind of get that concept. So teenagers love it. And adults that grew up with Disney love Pirates of the Caribbean.
I think even if you didn't, there's something for everyone in that ride. Even if you didn't grow up as a Disney kid, but you're now going to the parks as an adult, it's still a really fun ride.
Yeah, we're going to give that one to Pirates.
Yeah, for sure. Here's the weird thing about Disneyland, too. Not only does it have the original versions of most of the rides that are repeats, but it has just slightly better versions. So while we enjoy other Pirates', we think Disneyland is by far the best, but their space is also better. Their Space Mountain's better. Their
side-by-side seating and not as rough.
Right.
Yeah.
Their storybook is better because you get to go through Monstro.
As opposed to Paris's.
As opposed to Paris's, which is weird. I mean, you go through the
Cave of Wonders,
which has its own appeal, but
the one at Disneyland also has a live narrator. It has a cast member that narrates, where at Paris it does not.
Also true.
Yeah, it's a hard...
Even the train. Sorry,
well, no,
totally
that's
interrupted
true.
you, but even the train is better at Disneyland because you get the Land of the Dinosaurs.
Land of the Dinosaurs. I just love that. Oh, folks, this was a hard one because, again, for Sue and I, this was where we were cast members originally as well. So there's a lot of nostalgia built around some of these answers. It was a hard one, but Pirates had to win.
Yeah.
The easy one was the worst attraction, and I think it's going to be this way for all of these parks. The worst attraction kind of stands out. And Sue, what was
it does.
the
We
one
actually
came
had a
up with?
couple contenders. Let's talk about our contenders. So for worst attraction, we did talk about a little bit about Autopia. We talked about things like the Columbia, where it's just sort of long and boring.
But it's
unique.
Yeah.
So
that's why
it has
didn't
its
make
own
this
appeal,
one.
so it doesn't make the list. But we ended up with what we think is a pretty obvious answer, which is Astro Orbiter.
I can't believe that. How many spinner rides does one park need? And Magic Kingdom has 3.
Yes, it does.
There's 2 at Disneyland. The one in Tomorrowland, though, Astro Orbiter, not the rocket jets that used to be on top of the People Mover Tower, where it fit. It, as Walt would say, it was the weenie. It's what drew you in. Now, it sits right on Main Street.
Now it's a speed bump.
You can't see past it. It's, what? Come on, people.
Well, and it crosses bottleneck getting through on both sides.
When parades are going through, it's horrible.
It is. It's not only is it not a great ride, but they took the thrill factor out of it by putting it on the ground, and then it's in everybody's way. It's right in the middle of a pathway. It's terrible. Disney, are you listening?
Yeah. I mean, we don't want to be haters and stuff for, Astro Orbiter, because it probably has, it's probably listening. So Astro Orbiter, we it's not us, it's you. I don't know how to say this nicely.
I'm sure it is somebody's favorite.
It probably is.
It's just not ours.
All right, let's go across the way to California Adventure. This was a hard one, too. Not as many attractions. However, it has so many fantastic e-tickets. It has Incredicoaster. It has Soarin'. It has Grizzly River Run. It has some amazing, amazing attractions.
I also am a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout.
Right.
And I love that they have the Monsters, Inc. Dark Ride.
Yes, which hopefully is going to... Well,
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
not
know what's
going
going to
there
happen
yet.
to that because
It's going to become part of Pandora.
it's looking that way.
But
Maybe they
we're
can
not
move
going
it.
there yet.
Yeah, maybe they could move it over to Tomorrowland. Hey.
Hey.
Who knows?
I also, little dark horse here, but I love Luigi's, what's that called? Rollickin' Roadsters.
That's the one, yeah. It's kind of like Aquatopia at Tokyo,
very much.
where it's like dancing cars.
I always compare it to Daisy's dance class from Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Exactly.
But it's a whole ride of that, and the music is fun and Italian and bouncy, and it's just it's a kick. I
It's
laughed
so
the whole
much
way through
fun.
that. But in the end, we did pick a favorite. And Rod, what is our favorite attraction?
Well, our favorite goes to Radiator Springs Racers, and that's because, again, it's a family attraction. It does have a short height requirement, but it's thrilling enough, again, for the whole family. The kids love it because it's cars. The teenagers love it because it's fast. And the parents love it because it's nostalgia. It's cars. We
And
kinda
it's
grew up with that.
beautiful.
And it's an amazing attraction. Basically, if you take Test Track's technology and put the vehicles side by side and race them through the desert Southwest, that is Radiator Springs Racers.
Everything that is thrilling about Test Track is there, but they took everything that Test Track did wrong and corrected it. They gave it a storyline, they gave it IP, they gave it fun narrative, as opposed to you're a test crash dummy or you're testing a car for the elements that it can take. Like, those are not interesting things. I'm sorry, they're just not. Even for edutainment, they're not.
Yeah.
But Radiator Springs Racers took all of those things and just made it so much better. It made this ride an absolute must-do. So this definitely took our best spot.
Well, let's talk about the worst attraction, and this is one of the ones that sticks out like a sore thumb. Yes, there's a spinning swing ride in an orange. Well, it's not in an orange anymore. It's Silly Symphony swings now. When I worked there, it was the Orange Stinger. And there is a Wild Mouse coaster, Goofy's Sky School. I have to be careful because I was a lead on that attraction when it was Mohole of Madness and didn't like it then either, but it was fun to work.
Don't forget, you can also fly a baked potato.
That's true. The Golden Zephyr. That's still there. The baked potato ride. That's what people used to call it. You have to look at it, and really after you hear that and see it again, it looks like baked potatoes.
Yeah, you can't unsee it. Sorry about that.
But looking across the bay, we're looking at you, Mickey's Pal Around, or Mickey and Friends Pal Around. I don't hate Ferris wheels, but Ferris wheels that make you get sick to your stomach, I'm sorry. This is the worst attraction in California Adventure, in my opinion.
And to explain that, the cars swing not only back and forth, but they move like to the inside of the wheel and then to the outside of the wheel. So it's like you're a slave to gravity there for a little bit as it just flings you around however it feels like it.
It is based on Dino's Wonder Wheel in Coney Island, New York. So it actually had something that it was kind of meant to emulate, but it did it too well.
But why?
Why?
And we often talk about how Mission Space is one of only 2 rides that includes air sick bags in the ride vehicles. This is the other one.
Yeah, because they actually had a contest between Mission Space at Epcot and Mickey's Pal Around at Mickey and Friends Pal Around. I'm gonna
Don't let his friends off the hook.
Yeah, man, let his friends off the hook on this one. For the number of people that got sick on a daily basis, and they did that for an entire summer. When
I never did hear who won. I
there.
just heard that they had a contest.
I didn't want to know, actually. And
Nobody
I
won.
had really good friends that worked it, and no.
In that scenario, there is no winner. I'm sorry, there's just not. So that one was an easy pick for the worst attraction at Disney California Adventure.
All right, let's head back over to the home parks at Walt Disney World Resort.
Hooray!
Sue, start us off with Magic Kingdom.
All right, gotta start back at Magic Kingdom. We're gonna go with our best ride. And by best here, we are giving it to a ride that is family friendly, a ride that has no height requirement, and may sound vaguely familiar because we are giving it to Pirates of the Caribbean.
Wait, we just did that.
I know.
But, for all the same reasons.
It is.
It really is. It's still everybody's favorite ride at Disneyland and everybody's favorite ride at Magic Kingdom because they're just quintessentially Walt. It was something that Walt created. You can still feel his touch on those attractions at both parks.
Now, this one did have some really tough competition. We talked about Haunted Mansion, although I actually prefer the one at Disneyland. But if you compare Disneyland's pirates to Disney World's, it gets complicated.
Yeah.
But Disney World's mansion, I think, is lesser than Disneyland's mansion.
And see, I was a lead at Mansion in California and loved it, but I like the Florida one just a tad better.
I like it as
room.
well.
It's the Escher room that does it for me.
Yeah, well, and they have a Hatbox Ghost now too.
That is true.
But they don't get the Halloween Christmas overlay.
No, that's a good point.
Which I love. So, other competition at Magic Kingdom was Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, which we love. Again, Disneyland's version is slightly better.
Jungle Cruise, which is a little better than Disneyland's. And I agree. I was a world-famous Jungle Cruise skipper. I will always be a skipper at heart, and Disneyland was my rivers, but I love Florida's because of the ride-through show building. I love going through the temple.
I love that, too. So those were all top contenders as well. I also threw People Mover in there because it's a personal favorite. But again, is it widely known as a personal favorite? I don't know that it has appeal to the entire family. Kids might be bored on this one. But it deserved a little nod as an honorable mention, I thought.
The nostalgia factor really for that one, yeah.
Nostalgia and getting off your feet for 10 minutes.
True.
And
but we could have thrown Carousel of Progress in there and the Tiki Room and the Bears, and
which we love all of those.
But those aren't rides, so
they're not rides. Well, is Carousel of Progress a ride? You do move.
That's true. It does move. I think it is considered a ride still.
Yeah,
that's weird. Okay,
it is weird. But anyway, those were never going to be the top attraction.
No. Well, let's look at the lowest of the scores, and we polled many thousands of people for this one to find the lowest score, and we polled myself.
You polled yourself.
I was right there. Seemed like a perfect opportunity.
Okay.
When I worked at Magic Kingdom, I worked the Grand Prix. It's now called the Tomorrowland Speedway, and we're looking at you. You're smelly, you're old, and you're loud. Like my ex-wife. Oh! I shouldn't have said that.
Probably not.
No, okay. But the Grand Prix, or Tomorrowland Speedway as it's now called, is just ready for retirement. It just needs to go.
It does. We've said before that it could use an overlay. That would be lovely, but it's a big piece of land that could be put to better use. Let's pull that out instead of the lake. How about that? Let's put Radiator Springs over there.
I'm still surprised they didn't put Tron there, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
It seemed like that would have been a better location for it, but
now,
I don't know.
Kids do love this ride because they get a chance to drive the little car. They can get a driver's license. It's a good time when you're a child. When you are a grown-up, it just loses its appeal all the way around.
It really does. And as an ex-cast member from that attraction, came home smelling like gasoline every night. I'm happy to say it is our least favorite attraction at the Magic Kingdom.
Yes, it is. Let's move over to Epcot. Rod, start us off.
Well, since we're Epcotian, and we've talked about a lot of attractions just recently, you've heard us talk about our favorites being Living with the Land.
Oh, yeah.
And Spaceship Earth.
And a lot of people would put Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at the top of this list.
What we did, though, is we looked at it again from a family perspective, from an adult perspective, and from a teen perspective. The one attraction that fits the bill for all of that, because there's no height requirement, does have a small drop, and it's an IP that even adults seem to like. We're giving this one to Frozen Ever After. It's just a beautiful attraction.
It really is.
Now, I am a diehard older person that likes Maelstrom, and I loved going through it when it was the Norway Pavilion. But the scene within Frozen where you come into the Ice Palace and then turn and go backwards, and it's the Let It Go moment, is one of my favorite attraction scenes anywhere at Disney.
It's so good. That moment always makes me tear up. I would definitely say that earned a top spot for sure. And it, like you said, it appeals to all age groups, which is something that we're looking for in this list.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it, we already said what the worst attraction here is.
I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anybody.
Yeah.
But we're going to give this to Mission Space.
No, I didn't see that coming.
I know. Surprise.
Yeah.
Plot twist.
Spins around, you throw up, you get off, you feel bad, you go home early. not my idea of a great attraction, but it is a great themed attraction in that it really does make you feel like you're blasting off into outer space. I will give it that.
The technology is amazing.
It really is. But as older people like myself, and I won't say you're older anymore, Sue, because you're.
I am older, but I'm still younger than you.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I knew you were going to say that. But just somebody that's, getting up there in ages, it's just not worth that kind of feel after you get off an attraction anymore.
Agreed. Now, for the teen set, they will probably love this. Our niece Natalie loved this one.
Yeah.
It's just not for us. Let's move over to Disney Hollywood Studios.
Yay.
Or MGM if you're old like us.
What? MGM?
MGM.
No, I don't remember. MGM, was that a thing? I still can't get myself to stop saying that sometimes, but Disney Hollywood Studios has a ton of high energy e-ticket attractions. You have the original Tower of Terror.
Yes. The only one that moves out of the elevator shaft.
Yeah.
You actually get to go through the hotel, and that is freaking awesome.
And one of only two left with the Tower of Terror original theme of the Twilight Zone.
Also true.
Yeah, it has Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. It has the original Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and had the original and only one-of-a-kind Great Movie Ride, which everybody is sad to see gone, but Mickey and Minnie's is there too.
It also has some other attractions that we love, like Muppets 3D. Again, not a ride, but a movie that we love.
The Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular.
Which is still good. That's original issue to that park, and it still holds up. It's a great show.
However, after sitting and talking in Oga's for an evening, we had to give this one to Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
It is the best overall attraction, I still think, at the Walt Disney World Resort.
I agree. I don't think you'll get any argument from me on that at all. It is my favorite ride. It is not a ride. You are actually in Star Wars. I will continue to say that. And it is worth every second you spend in line. No matter how long that line is, it's the one ride that I think is worth the wait.
Yeah, it's 3 rides in one, basically. Without giving too much away if you haven't been on it, you are on the planet of Batuu, and you're helping the Resistance against the First Order. And
you actually get recruited by Rey.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
And see BB-8. And
Poe Dameron, and
a ton of stormtroopers. I'm not going to tell too much about the attraction. You've heard us talk about it for forever, and you've heard other people talk about it forever. And if you're listening to the podcast, you've probably been on it 50 times, but it's probably no spoilers. But it is the most just beautifully built and put together storyline-wise attraction Disney has ever done,
and fully immersive.
Oh yeah. All right. We're just going to head around the corner for worst.
We do have to pick a worst attraction in Hollywood, even with all the fantastic rides.
There aren't a ton of ones that I would even put in the list of bad attractions here.
No, this was actually a hard one, because even the one that we picked as the worst is still a really fun ride.
It is a cute ride. It's like the old Ladybug Boogie used to be at Bugs Land at California Adventure, and this is Alien Swirling Saucers. It is odd to me that Disney uses acronyms for everything, and this one is ass. Anyway,
they had to have done that on purpose.
What? Somebody put that in, and it slipped through the cracks, because...
so to speak.
Yeah. Little pun there.
But yeah, this is definitely took our bottom spot here, so to speak.
Oh, bad.
And this is Alien Swirling Saucers in Toy Story Land. It is a spinny ride. You just get flung around, sort of like a scrambler used to be at fairs.
It kind of has that same feel to it.
Yeah, but a little more wild. And there's music, and this one is Toy Story themed, of course.
It seems like all of the parks has one of these now.
Yeah, there's the Baymax one in Tokyo, and
Tokyo Disney Seas has one in the Little Mermaid area.
And DCA...
Or, I'm sorry, Under the Sea area, yeah. In California Adventure...
has Mater's.
Yes, which is the old Ladybug Boogie.
Yeah.
Basically, from many years ago.
And they're all fun. They're all exactly the same. And kids love this. It's not one that we would recommend. If you need to skip something, this is what you can skip.
Yeah, but
which
it
is
was
kind of the purpose of what we're doing. So.
Yeah, and it was kind of the only bad one we could come up with at Hollywood Studios. There's just so many good rides at that park.
There really are.
All right. Well, the last of the parks in the U.S. is Disney's Animal Kingdom. This is the park with the least attractions.
Yes.
So this one was a little easier because if you're looking at high energy attractions or the best attractions for Animal Kingdom, well, as you just heard us in our last episode talk about the must-dos there, or why Animal Kingdom, I guess we called it.
Uh-huh.
Kilimanjaro Safaris is the whole reason the park is there.
Yep.
Now, we talked about doing something like Expedition Everest and Avatar Flight of Passage.
Mm-hmm.
Flight of Passage, right. I always want to call it Rite of Passage, but
That would be ROP.
it's a rite of
call
passage
it
to
FOP.
ride it. But really, there was only one choice with this, and that's Kilimanjaro Safaris.
Yeah, like you said, it's the entire reason the park is there. This is where you get to go through the savannah not on a Jeep, in a Jeep. You are protected by the said Jeep. And you see all the animals, and you get to see the rhinos and the giraffes and the elephants and the okapi and the tommies. And it's just so, so wonderful. And every time you go on it, it's different. They took out the terrible storyline. They took out the awkward dialogue, and they just made it about the animals, and it's literally a perfect ride. I love this attraction.
Worst attraction in the park? This was a little more difficult, believe it or not.
Now
because
you
there's-
might think that we're going to say dinosaur.
Because we've said dinosaur many times that we don't really enjoy that one. But it could have been Triceratops Spin because it's just another Dumbo attraction. It could have been Tough to Be a Bug because
It sucks.
it's just not great. But it's going away.
It could have been Navi River Journey.
Oh, true, because the capacity is so
right.
horrible.
It's a beautiful
and,
ride, but it's very short, and that line is just a monster.
And you stand in the heat. You're covered, but you stand in that heat just,
And just shoulder to shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
They wrap that queue around itself so many times.
Not a big fan of the wait, but I do like that attraction better than one that we're going to talk about, and that is Kali River Rapids. I'm so over the rafting rides. I guess because I'm old. I know a lot of parks are getting rid of theirs now. A lot of Six Flags parks and Cedar Fair parks, which it's one and the same now, are getting rid of theirs now after all these years just because it's just every park has them. Why Disney put one in at this park? I still haven't figured out.
Now, I'm going to defend them a little bit because I do enjoy a good rafting ride. I think that they're fun. I don't love getting wet in the middle of the day, but sometimes when you're there, especially in Florida, you could use a little spritz in the middle of the day. What I don't understand is why they put in a rafting ride that has no thrill element. There's no payoff. You go through this whole story and you go down the little hills and under the waterfalls and you get drenched, but then there's no big payoff. You don't get that big drop at the end. There's no anything. It's just you're wet for no reason, and it's pointless. It makes me mad.
Yeah, at least with Grizzly River Run, you have the drop at the end, and you go through the Bear Cave. And
Beautiful scenery.
Yeah, just a gorgeous run. That's a California adventure. And on Roaring Rapids at Shanghai, you have an amazing animatronic alligator dinosaur thing. And so there's a payoff. With Kali, it's really short, really boring, and I still don't quite get what they're trying to teach you. I mean, the logging is bad if you overlog, but then why with the truck that's falling in the river? And
Yeah.
I don't get it. The whole storyline just falls apart. We've said in the past this would be a great overlay location for Jungle Book.
Yes, because it's in Asia already.
Yeah.
It would be really fun. And with a storyline, an actual storyline, you don't need as big of a payoff because you're getting that internally as you go along. So Kali River Rapids was definitely an easy pick for the last place on our list. That is an easy skip if you have a day at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, who wants squishy underwear and squishy socks?
Not me.
Well, folks, that's the best and worst attractions at the Disney U.S. parks. Let us know what we got wrong, what we got right, what you think the best and the worst are down in the comments. We'd love to see it. And maybe we'll even put some of the comments when we do another one of these, because it's going to happen eventually.
That would be fun. I like that.
Before we go, we'd like to give a big thank you to our theme music composer, Jason Patrick Rowan, whose music is licensed through Pond 5. And of course, thank you, Phoenicians.
Thank you, Phoenicians. And don't forget to rate, review, like, share, and subscribe. It really does help other people find us. You can find us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Epcotian Adventure is a $1,000 brunch production and a proud gold member of D23. Thanks for joining us today for episode 85 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And we'll see you in line.
Bye. So we talked about Space Mountain, and oh no, that was Magic Kingdom. Cut that out.
Yeah.
Don't play that.
Okay.
Don't take it out.
It's kind of way.
Okay.
Bye-bye.